All right, if you have knee pain, you gotta watch this video closely and follow these exercises. Just do them for a few minutes every day and you will feel significantly better. So if you're having trouble going down the stairs, if you're having trouble doing a simple exercise you used to be able to do with pain, and even if you have arthritis, these exercises will significantly help. Look, you can't get rid of arthritis per se, but you can 100% manage it. Believe it or not, I have had arthritis for over 20 something years. I got diagnosed with arthritis when I was 15. I had gnarly ACL reconstructions, 3 of them, and it was so bad, there was created arthritis. And I can tell you that when I do these exercises, I feel great. My doctor told me I couldn't run. I'd have to get a knee replacement by the age I'm at right now. I can run, I feel beautiful every day, unless I don't keep up on this stuff. So I know you're gonna feel relief as well because I've helped thousands of people similarly with knee pain. Let's get into it. There are 3 different parts that we need to focus on here, okay? Number 1 is mobility, so movement of joints. This is very important, right? So next part is tissue work, so breaking up the tissue quality. And the third part is stretching. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with mobility. Now, depending on what your balance is, you might wanna hold on to something here. But very important that when you have knee pain, we think about mobilizing the hips above and below it. Mobilizing the hips. Mobilizing the joints above and below it. But we're gonna start with mobilizing the hips, all right? So hips and ankles are extremely important for knee health. So a very good one that anybody can do throughout the day is a knee circle, okay? This is gonna open up your hips. When you do any of the mobility exercises, it's not about speed, it's about articulation. It's about controlled range of motion. So use the balance if you need to. What you can do is bend your knee. Imagine you had a marker sticking out of your knee joint and you are drawing as big a circle as you can. Now, as you're doing this, you wanna make sure that you're not like ruining your postures. Try to stay as vertically as you can and draw as big a circle as you can, and notice how my ankle's coming up as my knee's coming down to complete that circle, okay? Going as far over and around as I can, all right? I'm gonna show you another hip one on the floor, but I know a lot of times you have knee pain, you have a hard time getting up and down off the floor. So this is a really good one to work with. Another good one, and while we're here, is just a little leg sweep. Now just be careful here. You might have some weakness around your adductors and abductors, so you don't want to go too crazy, but just getting this loose movement. You can have your foot facing forward and back, and then without moving anything but the direction of your foot, you can go side to side, again, just to get some movement, some synovial fluid to that joint. Now from there, we're gonna do some ankle mobility. This is extremely important, underrated. So ankle mobility, I like to kind of hold my knee like this, okay? And then I'm similarly drawing a circle with my toes, slow and controlled. So I'm gonna go all the way down to my right, then point all the way down, all the way up to my left, and then repeat. Notice how I'm only moving at my ankle joint. I'm not circling my entire leg, okay? Slow and controlled. Now another really good, surprisingly, ankle mobility exercise good for your knee is a calf raise. Whoa! Holy cow! Well, that's not part of this, but don't do that. But nobody was hurt in making of this video, so that's a good thing. Although that kind of scared the hell out of me. In any event, I got really excited. Calf raises are honestly one of my favorite things to do because it's opening up your ankle and strengthening that area as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have, now you can put your foot on really anything. Ideally, I would have like a stack of weight plates so it's higher off the floor because the more range of motion, the better. But this will give you the idea. And obviously, if you have a seated calf raise machine you have access to, use that. But my heel's on the floor to start, and then I'm going all the way up to my tiptoes, and then all the way back down. So you shouldn't move your foot, that this is a lightweight so it moved, but you want to just go all the way up on the tiptoes, then all the way down. Again, this is not ideal range of motion, although I still do feel a stretch. Because what will happen is in a typical calf raise, your heel is going to get a lot more depth, and that's going to create a greater range of motion. So Really good exercise to do. And even if you use a calf raise machine, using a little bit of weight as well is really going to help, because it kind of forces that stretch deeper on the bottom part of position, and it really strengthens your toe and your foot on the way up. Okay, so the floor hip exercise that I want to show you here. So there's two different variations that I really like. If you do have a lot of knee pain, right? Someone who has a hard time getting up and down off the floor, use a wall, okay? Take a step back and then stack pillows. Now this is not much of a pillow, it's a very thin mat, but you can stack like 2 pretty big pillows so that you have to go through less range of motion to touch the floor. And so you're just gonna slowly go all the way down, all right? So again, make sure to pad that knee if you have knee pain. This should not hurt your knee when you do this, okay? And if it does, just stick to the other ones I just showed you. So I'm gonna show you 2 options here. Number 1 is an Anjane Asana, which is a yoga pose. So what you're gonna do is let that knee go back, walk your foot out forward. So I'm not on my kneecap, I'm really on the top of my knee, you can see here. And what I'm gonna do is let my hips sink forward, and I'm gonna raise my arms up. That's gonna help further deepen that psoas stretch. If this is super tight, that's gonna trickle down to your knee joint. And I'm gonna just let my hips gradually sink lower and lower and lower, okay? Now another good hip stretch you can do is a hip lunge. So this is more of a mobility type of movement. We're gonna have your hands down, and I'm in this position. And then what I'm gonna do is bring that knee back and then replace it. I'm gonna hold 1, 2, and then switch. 1, 2. Now you can, if you have the range of motion, you can get off of your knees. Just make sure that heel is down, and then switch. All right, so with these mobility exercises, you'd want to do about 10 on each side, ideally, all right? Remember, slow and controlled. Now, from there, we're going to get into tissue. So tissue work, the lacrosse ball, we're going to use the bottom of our foot. So if your fascia under your feet is just super tight, super tense, that's going to wreck your proprioception, which is basically your brain's connection with your body when you make movement, right? And so if you're not able to feel the floor, you're not going to use your joints as you should, and that's going to cause a lot of joint issues. So this is really important. So you can take a lacrosse ball. You're going to start so that your heel is down the floor, that ball is as low as you can. And you're going to feel this one, baby. Now from here, I'm just leaning forward, leaning into it, and just slowly move side to side. You feel that one. Then you're gonna do that for about a minute. Slide it down a little bit, so now the ball's mid-foot. Same idea, side to side. And then you're gonna keep going all the way up to each segment of your foot, about a minute each. So you're opening up the ankle joint, but you're breaking up the tissue under the foot, okay? So that's one. Now, from here, the other things that you want to think about mobilizing, breaking up tissue-wise for knee health is your gastroc, which is your high calf, all right? And then your hamstring, adductors, and quads, okay? Basically all of the surface area around the knee joint, those areas tend to get really tight. You have to mobilize it. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways. One, if you're someone who has a hard time getting up and down off the floor, and one for anybody else. So I'm going to start with the floor, which is using a foam roller. And so you're going to get on the floor. We're going to start in the inner part here, and then you're literally just going to roll slowly, side by side. I feel this one. Now again, it can be anywhere where you feel it around your joint. So you might turn your hips more, you might open them up. And then once you do that for about 2 minutes, now you're just going to go mostly on the quad. From all the way up, use small range of motion. Once you hit the upper part of the quad, do middle part of the quad, small range of motion. And then keep going down right until it's right above the knee joint, okay? You can even get a little bit of here, like you can turn your hips. Just want to make sure you're not completely on your IT band, but the top of your IT band. Now, I don't love the foam roller for your gastroc, your calf muscles. I prefer to use a lacrosse ball or a softball. And certainly the next exercise, I'm going to show you a tool in a minute here that is, I would highly suggest you get for like $20 on Amazon. It's an absolute game changer. But in case you don't have it, use a lacrosse ball. And what you can do is you can just sort of like, you can lift your butt up, but you can also kind of flex at your hips more and just position it so that you're feeling that tension right on your upper calf muscle, right below your knee. And again, you're going to start in the side and then slowly rotate back up so that you're breaking up this tissue. A lot of times when you have knee pain, you feel the knee pain going down the stairs, right? Well, a big reason you feel that is because that gastroc is tight and the glutes are likely not activated. And so when that is the case, it's going to put a lot of stress on your kneecap. So that we're going to do. So from there, after you roll these areas, you're going to do what's called a quad set. So you're going to have your leg extended and you're going to flex your toe towards your shin, squeezing the muscles around your knee joint as if like someone's like, hey, feel my muscle, and you flex. Like you want to make a muscle around that as much as you can, trying to get the back of your knee to the floor. Hold for 10 seconds and then release. All right, do that 10 times after you do the tissue work. Okay, now the tissue work, you want to roll for about 2 minutes in each segment. Now, I mentioned earlier, for those of you guys who have a hard time getting up and down off the floor, or for me, I have a hard time sitting on a stool, so we're going to try that again. But here, this is called the roll flex. You can find it on Amazon. I am not partnered with them. I receive nothing from them. But if you are from Rolflex and you want to do business, baby, hit me up. Because I refer this damn thing all the time. This is a game changer. So what we're going to do is just work those same areas, but it's a device to help it make it easier for you. So you're going to start under the knee, upper calf area, press that together, and just move it side to side slowly, okay? And then you're going to do the same with the adductors, side to side, all the way up the leg. And then as well, above the knee, over the quad, okay? So you'll get the idea. It's super simple, but you're just breaking up the tissue. When you break up the tissue, you're allowing blood, oxygen, nutrients, healing to take place to that joint. When it's super jammed up, I don't give a crap. If your doctor's like, you need a knee replacement, look, maybe you do, maybe. But I can promise you this, if you get a knee replacement and you don't do any of this stuff, you're gonna have tightness again, and you're gonna have some pain, and that's gonna trickle down to other joints. And by the way, knee replacements have to be changed every 20 years. And ain't nobody got time for that. That's a big undertaking. All right, so let's get into the final stretch here. We're gonna talk about stretching. Now we hit the psoas in an earlier, mobility drill. Like mobility and stretching can sometimes go together. So the one where we had the Anjaneyasana, that can be a dynamic one where you're driving your hips up, holding, and then coming forward, sort of like repping it 10 times. Or it can be a held one where you just do the same idea, but you're just holding it for about 2 minutes. Similarly with the hip drill I showed you on the floor, okay? But I'm gonna show you a really good stretch. It's gonna get the psoas and the quad. It's called the couch stretch. So, you're gonna go ahead and find a couch. So here, it's not quite a couch, but you get the idea. We're gonna put our knee up here. And again, you might need to use for balance, that's okay. But the idea is that my kneecap is pressed right up against the back of the chair part of the couch, okay? As much as we can. And then from there, we're going to, now some of you guys, you might be here in like excruciating pain. And that's okay if you are, all right? Just start there. Just make sure you have a good posture. Don't go like this. Always arch your back in this position, chest up. But as that becomes easier, try to lift your shoulders higher and higher. Now, you don't want to hyperextend back, but you want to try to get to a position where you're completely vertical. Just be aware of your rib cage. Try to suck your lower belly in, just so you're having a good posture, all right? And then you're just going to hold. And now, you can do this stretch against the wall, too, and it's gnarly. Like, if you haven't done it, you can do it. It's just going to be a far greater of a stretch. That is a good way to make it easier, okay? All right, so next up, when we're talking about stretching for the knee, we got to hit the quad. Now, you can do this different ways. I really don't think there's a good standing quad stretch other than that one, right? That one's kind of all encompassing. But on the floor, if you can make your way onto the floor, you can go on your side here. I found this to be the most accessible quad stretch for most people. Now you can do this, I would say, even in bed if you need to. It's better on the harder floor, but whatever you got to do, So from here, grab your foot and give it a pull. Try to bring your knees as close together as you can. Try to keep your posture completely vertical, all right? And this one, you're gonna pull that foot as much as you can. Now lastly, we're gonna stretch the hamstrings. My favorite hamstring stretch of all times is against the wall, okay? Because it's not just stretching your hamstring, it's stretching your Achilles, and it's unforgiving. You're using a stable wall to prompt the stretch. So it's gonna really make sure that it opens up. So you can use a wall, you can use a doorway. You want this leg extended. You want the other leg against the wall. You want your butt cheek of the leg against the wall, okay? Flex your toe towards your shin. So you might start off, and this might be your stretch. Your goal is to get the back of your knee to the wall or the door throughout the course of the stretch. You may not get there on day one, that's okay. But if you keep showing up, you will. And then as you do that, eventually keep flexing your toe towards your shin. Now you have some options once you get it completely vertical. You can move your toes so that they're facing out and hold that, or facing in. Or I often like to move my ankle on an angle as well, because it's just getting a different part of your hamstring, and it's really opening up the nerve pathways and everything else in that area. And so with these stretches, you want to hold for 2 minutes. So look, take time to do these, especially if the doctor is trying to give you surgery. Look, if you are not someone who's an athlete, I would really think twice about getting a surgery. I understand they're doctors, I'm not, I get that. My suggestion to you would be do all of this for 30 days. And if by the end of 30 days you're in excruciating pain, you can barely move, then go get your surgery. But if you're not, maybe you never have to get it. Let me know if you're struggling with anything else, comment below, and I'll see you next video.